Bloods, you cowards, man. Come see us, man. I swear to God, you come down this block, you gonna get filled up with so much smoke, nobody gonna make it off the block. You come down this block, is nobody gonna make it off this block, man. I promise you, you won't make it off this fucking block, man. Anyway. On everything I love, you come up on us, man, you're not gonna make it. Niggas gonna blow your shit clean off, man.
My Steve gang. Steve Kelp probably bigger than my drink, man. I'm cute on your yard.
Oh, and I'm a little nigga.
This nigga Kelp something serious, man.
I don't know what it's for, you know why? Cause I kidnap niggas, I rob niggas, I kill niggas, I got a lot of shit. Who he is? This is my little brother, Skinny Me. The notorious Skinny Me. That boy about 130 pounds of horror. I know this for a fact, man. And guess what? This is what I like about Skinny Me. This is what I like about Skinny Me music, man. It's just raw. And it's like reality rap.
The mafia.
Skinny Me will go through a situation, and guess what? It's gonna be in the song. He's gonna make a song about the same day. So I know that's why I feel it so much. I know it.
A reckless anthem.
When he said I killed the nigga and I did that, I seen him do it. When he said somebody try to drop on me, not wrestling out for the
man.
and I seen him.
AR Ab was 99 overall and self-snitching. Abdul West, born in North Philly on September 26, 1982, to a religious two-parent home composed of very devout Muslims who would pray together 5 times a day. Ab had a very supportive family from the start, but they grew up in the trenches, so he'd always have one of his eyes on the streets. Growing up in Philly, you had to be cut from a different cloth to survive, and he was just that. Growing up being a rough kid, it wouldn't be a surprise he wouldn't make it long through traditional high school, either not going or being kicked out. He would end up finish school, joining a program called Job Corps. He would not only graduate from here, but also become a licensed plumber. He would find a minimum wage, completing Job Corps, making a measly $200 a week. But during this time, he was spending a lot of his off time with his little cousin who was doing dealings in the streets, eventually asking Ab if he could find a worker for him for about $500 a week. Hating where his life was going, he saw this as a chance to switch it up. So he would try to be his little cousin's worker, getting denied at first, but he had a different opportunity for Ab, allowing him to stand on his own 2 feet, giving him about 5 pounds of some cheaper smoke. He was respected and from a very profitable block, and having a younger brother who was known as a shooter, it was a recipe for success. He would double up and stack his money to the point where by 19, he had 5 cars, 2 cribs, and was paying all his mom's bills. Around this time, he would start serving something harder though. It was different though. This brought a lot more violence, and Ab was almost in love with the fact of this. So much that he made a name for himself. He wasn't scared of doing anything, whether that would be tying someone up or taking it all the way, as he was making a real name for himself in Philly. And Philly has a really big battle scene, and Ab was a part of it. He was actually killing people on the stage, lyrically. This brought him around a lot of faces, and he could flex his dealings in the streets, and he could rub shoulders with a lot of people. And that being Cassidy, somebody he actually grew up with. He'd hear Ab's name ringing around the streets for just the kind of work that he needed, as Cassidy was being extorted by somebody from his block at this time. So he decided to team up with Cassidy, being some type of street enforcer for him. It was all smooth sailing until about 2005, where Cassidy and Ab were hit with an M case. After some street beefs with a man named Desmond Hawkins, he was killed outside of Cassidy's home, allegedly by Ab. Facing life, they would take 2 different paths. Cassidy would cop out to a lesser charge almost immediately to manslaughter and serve about 2 years. But Ab would not take this. He would take this case to trial, with the only witness not wanting to cooperate anymore, so his charges would ultimately be dismissed. By the time he finished his trial though, Cassidy would be touching the streets again, and Ab went broke during this time fighting his case, and he couldn't move as he wanted. Plus, with him returning home, his cousin took a big loss and went to jail, so he didn't know really what to do. But Cassidy was speaking Ab's success into reality, so when he got back, he would sign to him. But at this time, Cassidy really lost a lot of his buzz after 2 years. It's just, a lot of Philly artists had came up at that time, and he seemed like a forethought at that point. He couldn't really bring his own buzz, let alone give Ab some type of boost. While their careers were both on life support, he just went back to knowing He just went back to doing what he knows best. That's robbing. After getting a motion back, he would just fall out with Cassidy for feeling like he was just blowing smoke up him during this time and playing him. So he'd separate himself and decide, let me just stand by myself. He'd make his own crew going by the name of OBH, or known by as the original Block Hustlers. He surrounded himself with people that were really like him and that were just like him. But remember, his block was very profitable. But at this time, he didn't have a connect until he found the right one on the search. Having him move on to his block, this caused so many problems, as this wasn't really respected by others on the block. But he was willing to go to war about this potential $1 million operation. They would work together using the plug's resources. He'd make sure money would be transferred without a hitch. But this is Philly. They're just different up here. So allegedly, somebody who didn't agree with the outsider, they would kill the plug's father, leading him to just dropping out the game, letting Ab inherit it just for a $100K payout whenever he made it in profit. This is when everything would change. Not only him making money, but his whole team could flex, literally hundreds of thousands. But this is 2009, and this is where two things really took off, and that was Yerks and Drink. It got super popular during this time, and like I said, they're just really different in Philly. Instead of filling their 2 liters up, they would sip this stuff raw, with that just being a concoction for something bad to happen. That's exactly what would happen, as in 2011, he was shot 10 times while he was on his way to serve an ounce of hard. Someone would pull up on side of him and shoot the car up. He was so high to the point where he thought somebody in the car with him was shooting him. He ended up driving himself to the hospital, with his main focus being his girlfriend not getting a hold of his phone. He would have a stint in the hospital, and he would be released to recover at home. He would also be shot 3 times a few months later. It was really active at this time. It brought heat on both sides, in the streets and with the police. He'd be hit with a controlled buy by selling some hard to some undercovers. He'd end up losing a lot of money during this time, and he needed a legal income for paperwork. So he'd go harder on the music tip, eventually coming across to his Beats desk Already knowing Ab's name through the streets, he would reach out to him and see if he wanted to meet Meek Mill. At this time, he got to rub shoulders with some real industry looks. His music would hit a different level at this time, even catching the eye of Birdman, who even wanted to sign him to Cash Money and make him be the last piece of Cash Money. He'd give Ab $200K in hopes he could get him under contract, but he definitely didn't want to sign after the Cassidy situation. And after having a conversation with Baby and him admitting that he was in court with Lil Wayne at the time for their dispute over him not paying money. But Ab was a street guy. He ended up just keeping this money, and this would lead to him and Birdman falling out, because Birdman can steal money from you, but you cannot steal money from Birdman. After falling out with Birdman, he would even show off $500,000 in cash to prove to Instagram that, he didn't need that look. He didn't need to sign. The Drake and Meek beef would eventually pop off, and that'd be a turning point for him. As him being a battle rapper and Meek just simply losing the beef, he would openly call him out. He didn't feel how he didn't really return hard enough or really say anything after back-to-back. There'd also be some street beefs behind the scenes with both the respected crews. It would just fully push Ab into the streets. He didn't really care about rap at that point. Also taking up investing in properties. He was getting a little money outside of rap too. He felt like he was at the top of the world. At that time, a man would approach him by the name of Taz, who was broke at the time. He would seek out AR as he was well versed in the streets. He just needed to connect, eventually learning the operation within OBH, spending close to 2 weeks with the crew. He would start making close to $12,000 a month, also getting a neck tattoo just 2 weeks after meeting Ab. This is going to be important for later in the story. The deterioration of his enterprise would happen fast, as an affiliate would be caught shooting at a man, leading to one of his spots named the Mansion being raided. But the raid was for a shooting suspect. They couldn't really do too much with the guns and drugs that were scattered through the crib, but they'd keep tabs on them. Around this time, they would go under investigation by the feds. They would start opening up the case on them. And during this time, Ab was very openly speaking on his dealings in the streets, even having a very iconic Vlad TV interview during this time. The feds would catch them on controlled buys by putting a surveillance camera above the mansion the place that was subsequently raided. They caught deliveries and sales of product. This would all go down after Taz would be ordered to kill a man named Jordan Johnson. He would set up a deal using his baby mama's Instagram account, eventually doing the deal to set him up. He couldn't do it on the first go run though. Eventually, just ended up doing the transaction and not finishing him off. He would go back to Ab and say he couldn't do it just yet. Until one day, he gained the courage to go try it again, where he would eventually actually succeed. He would drop off the murder weapon with one of the OBH affiliates, leaving it there for about 2 weeks, where he would retrieve it. As Taz was doing his dealings within the streets, he'd be speeding through Philly with the murder weapon underneath the seat, where he'd be pulled over and subsequently found with the weapon. Taz would be arrested and booked into jail, and Ab just kind of chalked this up as just one of the things that happens in the streets. He felt like there was no point in fighting it, as he told him to get rid of the weapon and didn't. So he would just leave him high and dry. As Taz was facing life in jail with a kid outside and a baby mama relying on him, he'd eventually flip on OBH, telling on Skinny Me about 2 murders. Skinny Me would end up going on the run while making this iconic clip right here, eventually getting caught up and getting sentenced to 25 years. Taz would open up about the whole operation and how it worked. They were moving big weight from Cali through 18-wheelers through a guy Ab had known. They would subsequently raid one of the truck driver's places, where they would find 10 bricks of uncooked pure product. They'd end up raiding over 4 stash houses that were also in Ab's name. And the craziest part about this was that it was revealed that Ab was doing all this on parole. While Ab was going through the proceedings of court, it was obvious that he didn't respect what was going on, him being flipped on somebody that he had given so much grace to. He would act almost like an ass in court. He would be seen with his arms crossed. He would be snickering. He would be sucking on his teeth. He would be not really taking the situation as serious as the judge wanted him to. So this would basically cause him to get slammed, explained by lawyer Moganget's video. He'd eventually be sentenced to 45 years, and during this time, his grandma and mom would die while he was locked up, even leading to his wife leaving him after being sentenced. She did do the whole ride though while he was going through trial. She would eventually remarry, but she does remain close friends with Ab while he's locked up. Ab's time in the feds has been less than peachy, as people know. His case went federal. So federal penitentiaries are some of the most dangerous places that you can be held in. This even led Ab to even being stabbed by a very crazy person in lockup who was having a bipolar breakdown. With limited medical attention, Ab would get serious infections in jail while he was in solitary confinement, almost leading to the demise of Ab. To say that he's not having a good time is to say the least. But yeah, this was basically the story about ARAB, basically the Philly's king of self-snitching. Not the best title, you know. I definitely didn't want to make it sound like that, but after what he put out and all the crumbs that he left for the feds, it's hard to not say that. But definitely free Ab, you know. At the end of the day, a lot of this stuff is like, all right, we gotta give you some like leeway on this. Like, we can't just like, all right, give you 20 years for this. But 45 is crazy. That's not rehabilitating somebody. That's him coming out as a senior citizen. Then again, it's like people lost their life in this situation, so it's always gonna be a sad one. But yeah, this is just one of the situations that kind of happens in the streets. So yeah, let me know what y'all think about this. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think about this whole situation. What was the wildest part of this story? Y'all be smooth. I will see y'all in the next video, man.